Hi, hello, and welcome back to F1 Challenge Career Mode. My name is Mephisto, and today we're heading off to Canada for round 8 of the 2001 Formula 1 season. Let's get started.
Located on the Ile Notre Dame, just minutes away from downtown Montreal, the circuit Gilles Villeneuve combines short straights with an uninspiring selection of slow to medium speed chicanes and one hairpin. Despite being a dedicated motorsports facility, the barriers around circuit Gilles Villeneuve are very close to the track, giving the circuit a distinctly street feel.
And we cut straight to qualifying at the end of my first qualifying lap. And despite a few mistakes, I managed to do quite well, with a time of 124.118. Then, several minutes later, I went out again, and I was a bit faster this time around with a time of 123.743. Later still, I managed to shave another tenth off of my lap time for a 123.613. This is it, the final chance to claim pole position. I did everything I could down to the letter, and managed to find one extra second around the circuit for a 122.629. I was now in pole for the very first time in the season. See you on the grid.
Hello there. Welcome to Canada for round 8 of the 2001 FIA Formula 1 World Championship. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. The BAR driver starts his race from first. Michael Schumacher, second. Hakkinen, third. Juan Pablo Montoya, fourth. David Coulthard, fifth. Ralph Schumacher failed to get anywhere near the pace of his championship rival, the BAR driver. Kimi Raikkonen, seventh. Nick Heidfeld, eighth. Barrichello, ninth. Frentzen, 10th. Button, 11th. Irvine, 12th. Jos Verstappen, 13th. Trulli, 14th. Giancarlo Fisichella, 15th. Panis was way off the pace of his teammate. He starts in 16th. Jean Alesi, 17th. Fernando Alonso, 18th. Berti, 19th. Pedro de la Rosa, 20th. Bernaldi, 21st. Marquez, 22nd.
After a fantastic qualifying, will we be able to capitalize and translate it into a victory? I do not know, but we will surely find out shortly. And the lights are out for the start of the Canadian Grand Prix, and immediately Michael Schumacher flies past us without too much of an issue. So now we'll have to see whether or not we'll be able to regain control of the race. Meanwhile, behind us there is an accident of some sort involving Hakkinen and Montoya. I turned early through the first part of this chicane, allowing Schumacher to put more distance between us. But here is another view of the start. I accelerate away, move over to the right to try and keep Michael Schumacher behind, but I couldn't go too much because otherwise Hakkinen would have also gone past me, and there is the accident between Hakkinen and Montoya. So Montoya is going to lose a bit of time due to that, but he is none of my concern at this point. My concern is to retake first place from Michael Schumacher. A win here could really help us in the standings. However, winning the championship is going to be quite difficult, in part because we'll need to score consistently, and in part because we will need to win a few races to boost us into the championship lead. And that's easier said than done since the guys around us are also going to be scoring points. Anyway, I am now having a run on Michael Schumacher. Will this be enough? No, it's not. He gets right back, but I tuck in right behind him and will try again through turn 1. Make use of his slipstream for the added speed bonus, but do we keep it? Yes we do. So after losing first place at the start of the race, We managed to regain it at the start of the second lap. It was now time to build a gap between myself and Schumacher. I need to be careful though because brake wear here is very high due to some very heavy braking zones. On lap 6 I was still trying to pull away from Michael Schumacher, but he was having none of it. All the while there was an accident behind us somewhere, but I really need to step on it because Michael Schumacher was less than a second behind. But here is a replay of what happened. Raikkonen, challenging Montoya for 5th position, clips the rear of the Williams, spinning it around. Then Barrichello taps the Sauber of Kimi Raikkonen, and I'm pretty sure Montoya is fuming at this point. After all, he was quite hot-tempered. It was so easy to make him angry, but anyway, we are now coming around to finish lap 6. I managed to increase the gap on Schumacher slightly, however it still wasn't enough. The slightest mistake and he would get back in front, but we do set the fastest lap of the race, so that's nice. But yeah, I had to increase the gap somehow, and I nearly lost the pack there. Gotta be careful. Still trying to put some distance between myself and Michael Schumacher when Jenson Button starts to have some problems with his car. He did pit on the first lap, so this might have something to do with it. And here is Jenson Button amongst the back markers. I think I saw some flames coming out just then. Yes, there's definitely fire coming from the Benetton. As they come around, Button's car starts to slow down, then both my teammate and Tarso Marquez get around him. Jenson Button pulls to the side, and that is it for the Brit. Meanwhile, I managed to increase my gap to Schumacher to around 2.5 seconds. Still not enough though, but now I did have at least a little bit of breathing space. Even so, I still had to make sure I made no mistakes. I was really feeling the pressure. It was so nerve-wracking to know that you're in the lead and just a couple of hundred meters behind you is someone who wants to be in your position as much as you do. Later, I further increased the gap as Bernoldi was now having problems with his car. Let's see what it is. And here we have the arrows of Enrique Bernoldi. He just started his lap, smoke starts to come out of the rear of his car, he pulls to the side and out of the way. And in the background we see his teammate Jos Verstappen coming around as well as one of the Prosts. But now I was beginning to have problems as Michael Schumacher was starting to gain on me. He managed to shrink the gap back down to 2.5 seconds, which was bad news since I was getting ready to pit in this lap, trying to go for the undercut. Here I am a few hundred meters later coming into the pits and I slowed down way too early. That's going to cost me so much time. Let's hope that the stop itself goes a little bit better. We are now pulling into our pit box as Schumacher takes the lead, Hakkinen also gets in front of us, and it seems that so will Coulthard. But will our pit stop be better than theirs? That's the real question here, because if their stop is faster than ours, then there's a slight possibility that they will stay behind. But we rejoin the track in 4th place, Raikkonen quickly closing in as we approach turn 1. Now we need to push in order to make sure that we come out in front during Coulthard's, Hakkinen's and Schumacher's stops. This is lap 14, 2 laps after our pit stop, and I've consistently been within 10 seconds of David Coulthard. There's also been an accident involving Montoya and Jarno Trulli. Let's have a look and see what happened. So, here is the replay. We have Trulli in the Jordan, right behind him is Montoya in his Williams, and then in front of Trulli is the Prost of, I believe, Sean Lacey. Trulli slows down to come into the pits, and Montoya crashes into the Jordan, and wings fly. To be fair though, Trulli slowed down way too early. He was still on the track when he was traveling at pit lane speeds, so that's a stupid thing to do. And I'm sure Montoya will want to have a little chat with Trulli after the race. And knowing Montoya, it probably won't be a friendly one. Remember that time when he walked into a cameraman and hit his head on the camera? Despite being Montoya's fault for not looking, he assaulted the poor guy. And he was just trying to film him. But anyway, I am now coming to lap Luciano Berti, who gives me no room to pass. He was holding me up through the Senna curve. Then, on the exit, he finally pulls to the side to allow me through. And that made me actually quite angry, so much so that I physically waved my fist in anger at a pixelated version of a Formula 1 driver. Anyway, we are now coming around to finish lap 15, and Mika Hakkinen and Schumacher are both in the pits. So we move up into second place. and with Coulthard 10 seconds up the road, who still had to pit, I would move back into the lead of the race for sure. I only had to make sure that I didn't crash and I needed to take care of my brakes. But Hakkinen and my teammate have had an incursion. Here's Hakkinen leaving the pits. He crosses the pit speed limit line, and there we can see Panis in the BAR. Hakkinen comes into turn 1, then Panis just goes straight, and it looked like he was going at a high speed. We are now on board with Luciano Berti to have a better look hopefully. Berti reaches the braking zone, and it seems that Panis was unable to slow down. It might be that he had some problems with his brakes. Oh, and Bertie hits Panis and loses his front wing. Never seen anything quite like that really. Not in this game anyway. And that puts both my teammate and the Flying Finn out of the race. Out of the two, only one was a threat really. But David Coulthard is now in the pits, so can we regain the race lead? Yes, we can. But will I be able to keep Schumacher behind? I sure hope so. A win here would be a massive boost to my morale, something that I desperately need right now. On lap 18, my engineer radios in to tell me that Coulthard had gone off the track and that he was having some problems with his engine. All the while, I was still struggling to stay ahead of Michael Schumacher. Here is Coulthard coming around to finish lap 17 and to start lap 18. There are some phantom wings on the track there, weird graphical glitch, but Coulthard's engine starts to let out smoke. He completely cuts across the track and crashes straight into the safety barrier. That crash was quite violent. In real life, that would probably render Coulthard unable to compete in the next couple of rounds. But this is not the real life, so he's absolutely fine. And I'm now coming up to lap 1 of the Jaguars. I think it's Pedro de la Rosa. It doesn't really matter though. We've just started lap 21, and there's a car stopped on the track. It's the arrows of Jos Verstappen. What could have happened? I was not informed of anything, and it sounds like Schumacher was unable to avoid the arrows. So here's the arrows of Jos Verstappen coming into the Senna turn, and on the second part of this turn, his car suddenly spins. I think that might be a brake problem. That's me in the BAR, and there's Michael Schumacher who for some reason is unable to avoid hitting the arrows. With that, we have a total of 9 retirements in the race, a true race of attrition. And if this is a race of attrition, I don't really know how to describe the Monaco Grand Prix. A massacre perhaps? And here we are, coming around to finish our final lap, and I gotta tell you, Michael Schumacher really picked up the pace during the final lap. I was quite worried, but we did it. We wave at the guys in the pit stall, and finally our first victory of the season. This is truly a momentous occasion. I was really worried that we might end up destroying the brakes, therefore ruining the race. But I did all that I could to take care of them, and that in turn gave us the victory. This will help our chances in the championship so much, and I think we might actually be in the running this season, especially if we'll be able to pull off a few more victories. But for now, let's see the standings.
It's been a scintillating Canadian Grand Prix. Let's take a look at the final results. The BAR driver first. Michael Schumacher second. Kimi Raikkonen third. Nick Heidfeld fourth. Rubens Barrichello fifth. Ralph Schumacher sixth. With the results confirmed, it's high time we updated the Drivers' Championship. David Coulthard first.
Coulthard is still in the lead with 40 points. Schumacher is second with 36 points. We move up into third with 22 points. In fourth we have Juan Pablo Montoya with 20 points. Fifth is held by Ralf Schumacher with 14 points. In sixth we have Hakkinen, Irvine, and Heidfeld with 13 points. Barrichello is seventh with 9 points. In eighth we have Raikkonen with 8 points. Button and Verstappen share ninth with 4 points, and Frentzen is 10th with 2 points.
McLaren stay ahead in the Constructors' Championship, despite having their lead reduced by this result. Ferrari are second, whilst third place is held by Williams.
McLaren are still in the lead of the Constructors' Championship with 53 points. Ferrari are second with 45 points. Third are Williams with 34 points. Our team moves up into fourth with 22 points. Sauber are fifth with 21 points. Sixth are Jaguar with 13 points. Seventh is shared by Benetton and Arrows with 4 points. And in eighth we have Jordan with 2 points. So, we finally managed to win a race. We are now 14 points behind second place and 18 points behind first place. So we can say that we are now pretty much in the running for the Drivers' Championship. As for the constructors, as long as I am the only one scoring points, there's no way we can win that one. And since Panis hasn't scored a single point during the entire season so far, and I don't see him scoring anytime soon, the Constructors' Championship is pretty much hopeless. But with a few more good races, we might get in the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Anyway, our next race will be the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, which is quite a difficult race, for me at least. But we'll see how things go. Until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.